Today, I'm diving into a viewer request from Tim David 3574, who got in touch with me recommending the band Til Tuesday. They wrote, "I'll recommend You Know the Rest and Don't Watch Me Bleed by Til Tuesday. Both are great, but practically unknown songs in my opinion, and I would love to hear your take on them." Now, both of those tracks were on Til Tuesday's first release, and more about that later. But I did a little bit of digging and found our little nugget of gold for this episode, and it wasn't where I expected it to be. If you're new to the show, welcome. This is the place where we explore the B-sides and rare songs that were passed up on for the main albums. Thanks for checking out the video, and it's great to have you here. Now, I do need to let you all know that until this episode, I knew nothing about the band Til Tuesday. They did have a hit in the top 40 in Australia way back in 1985, but for me, they definitely went under my radar. So I'm completely new to this band, but that's why I love requests. It's great to hear new music that I haven't heard before. So let's get our hair gelled and our new wave on as we pop into this episode of Should Have Been on the Album. Should have been on the album. Til Tuesday were a band formed in Boston, the US in 1982. They were headed up by Amy Mann on lead vocals and bass, along with Robert Holmes on guitar, Joey Pesk on keyboards, and Michael Hausman on drums. Mann had studied at the Berklee School of Music and was involved in the local punk scene. Amy had fronted an earlier band called the Young Snakes, who appeared in a 1981 compilation album featuring Boston-based bands, as well as other independent releases. The sound is much more in their post-punk style, but definitely worth checking out. Shortly after forming, Til Tuesday won Boston's WBCN Rock and Roll Rumble in 1983, and their song Love in a Vacuum gained a fair bit of airplay, eventually leading to a signing with Epic Records. Come 1985, their first album was released, and the single Voices Carry reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. Here in Australia, the song would reach number 15, and also likewise in Canada. The album Voices Carry would contain further singles Looking Over My Shoulder and Love in a Vacuum. The album would spend 31 weeks in the US charts, peaking at a respectable number 19. They would also earn an MTV Music Award for Best New Artist. Come 1986, Til Tuesday would be back in the studio, releasing Welcome Home. The sound would move away from the new wave tone of their debut. And while the lead single What About Love reached number 26, it wasn't enough to get the album to climb much higher than the top 50. Their third and final album, Everything's Different Now, would come out in 1988, but it was very much informed by the ending of Mann's 2-year relationship with singer-songwriter Jules Shear, whom Mann had dated since the Voices Carry album. The album did not sell well, despite a good critical reception, and the band broke up soon after. Amy Mann would go on to carve out a solo career, and a greatest hits of sorts would be released in 1996. After such a promising start, Til Tuesday would be gone within just a few years. But for today, let's head back to their second album and check out the flip side of their second single. The song that we're looking at is called Yesterday. Okay, a quick heads up, this is not a cover of the classic Beatles track, but a completely different song. Yesterday was written by Amy Mann and released on the flip side of Coming Up Close, the second single from Welcome Home. It was produced by Rhett Davies, who also produced the album, so you can assume it was recorded in the same sessions. The song was only ever released on the 7-inch Japanese edition of the single, replacing the album track Angels Never Call. The single itself scraped into the top 40 of the US mainstream rock chart, but bottomed out at 59 in the Hot 100. And that's about it. There's very little information about Yesterday, and not even a lot of pictures to go along with it. According to setlist.fm, the band only ever played the songs 3, maybe 4 times in concert, so it really is a rarity. Lyrically, Yesterday explores how dark emotions can affect who you are, but can also come and go. Mann explained it well herself when she said,
"It's a song about waking up one morning and finding that your old friend Misery has finally left you. Yesterday there was a change somewhere on your face. It's yesterday you were looking for another one thing
There's a sense of trepidation and even perhaps a warning towards that person.
I'm not trying to tell you that you have no choices to be weighed, but you've gotta believe in faith healing, 'cause everyone's afraid.
But whatever has happened or caused the change has led to a shift in their emotions.
Yesterday, your old friend just walked on by, a friend that used to wake you up and make you think the world was going to end. Your old friend.
That old friend is definitely one that you do not want around. The lyrics are somewhat cryptic, but maybe that's the whole idea. They're subtle, yet pointed. Musically, the song opens with a descending keyboard motif before finding its rhythm at an easy pace. Man uses her head voice throughout the song and gives it a sense of floating above the cares that surround the lyrics. There's an airiness to it, an etherealness, allowing the story of the song to shine through. The mix is clean and uncluttered, and the chorus is catchy and layered with immaculate harmonies. Yesterday is a song that demands repeat listens, and it doesn't have the new wave tendencies of their earlier material, sitting almost in a pop folk territory without the 80s trappings of the era. It's bittersweet and revealing. Now, like I said at the beginning of this episode, I hadn't really heard Til Tuesday until only recently, so listening to their second album was a completely new experience for me. So, what do I think? Let's find out. As usual, keep the singles, What About Love, and the country tinged coming up close. Definitely one of the highlights of the album. On Sunday is warm, with Calliope-like keyboards and a strong beat. Will She Just Fall Down bounces into its minor key, with piano stabs and chorused guitars. There's a little Beatles influence here as well. David Denies leans more into the classic 80s big ballad sound, with a big chorus and layered arrangement. Side 1 is pretty damn strong, in a melancholic kind of way. Side 2 opens with Lover's Day, a song that has a delicious bite and a sense of determination and sass. Next is the gentle but unremarkable Have Mercy, followed by the okay Sleeping and Waking. Angels Never Call again finds the band in a reflective zone with more layered vocals, but the chorus never quite takes off. Finally, we end with No One Is Watching You Now, a 6/8 time song that allows for Man's vocals to shine through. It's a beautiful song, and it has the heart and the storytelling performance down pat. Thankfully, it's a strong end to side 2, and it's actually a bit of a tearjerker. So, does Yesterday deserve a spot? Well, that's a big yes. And to be honest, it's gotta go on side 2. Have Mercy is just a bit meh. Sleeping and Waking is a little more upbeat, but still missing something. And Angels Never Call is saved only by the call and response vocals and a more interesting arrangement. Yesterday is better than all of them, but I'm gonna take out Have Mercy. It's a song that bogs down the second side and is the longest song on the album to boot. And while it has a nice guitar solo in it, Have Mercy just wanders along without really getting anywhere. To be honest, side 1 of the album had me really excited, especially as a new listener. But side 2 feels like a missed opportunity. Yesterday definitely deserves a spot and could replace Have Mercy, Sleeping and Waking, or Angels Never Call. They're all a bit samey, and it really does come down to preference. So my preference is to drop Have Mercy. Looking at some of the forums about the band, I discovered that there's actually quite a few songs that they recorded but didn't make any of the albums. And there was also a suggestion that there may have been a 4th album in the works, but it never materialised. And going back to Tim David, who sent me down this path, his suggestions of You Know the Rest and Don't Watch Me Bleed from Til Tuesday's first album are definitely worth a look. My favourite of the two is definitely Don't Watch Me Bleed. But it's also fascinating how much the sound of the band changed from the first album to the second album and to the third album. It's been quite a journey for them. So, there you have it. What are your thoughts on Til Tuesday, and do they hold a place in your memory? And what about Yesterday? Do you think the song ranks at all? Drop a comment below. And as always, if you have an idea for a B-side or a rare track that you think I should check out, let me know. You can also email me on shouldvebeenonthealbum@gmail.com and share your thoughts and stories. And also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook. But until next time, my name is Drew, and you've been watching Should Have Been on the Album. Cheers. Oh, I forgot to tell you, there is a bonus episode coming up in just a couple of days, right in time for April Fool's Day. So make sure you check it out. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. See you guys around. Cheers.